Nothing is ever truly new. It is just forgotten. It is often said, without memory, we are nothing. What if memory is far greater than what happens inside our brains? What if memory lives all around us? Many indigenous cultures understand memory not as something contained within an individual mind, but as something distributed across relationships between people, objects, stories, the body, and the living landscape. Cognitive science is exploring something similar through the idea of distributed cognition, studying knowledge as being spread across social groups, physical tools, the environment, through dynamic interactive systems. To live as a species on Earth is to live in negotiation with and relation to the sensuous surroundings, to exchange possibilities with animate, communicative creation. The world articulates itself through gestures felt on the skin, inhaled, heard, and tasted, and we humans reply through sound, movement, and mood. Every exchange draws humans into relationship. And through these relationships, we are nourished collectively. Objects are not merely things. They become triggers that awaken stories, emotions, skills, and ways of seeing. Every object carries information. The meaning does not lie in the object alone, but in the relationship we have built with it. As the saying goes, we see only what we look for. We recognize only what we know. This understanding appears across many ancient cultures. Long before writing, people developed sophisticated systems for preserving enormous amounts of knowledge. Survival skills, navigation, law, ecology, astronomy, history. These were woven into stories, songs, dances, artworks, and sacred places. Knowledge is multisensory. It is heard, seen, touched, walked, sung, and performed. Different layers of meaning reveal themselves according to a person's experience, education, and responsibility within the community. One way memory becomes tangible is through objects. When we connect new knowledge to a familiar object, that object becomes a living reminder. Simply seeing it or even imagining it can bring the knowledge back. The object becomes a bridge between the physical world and the world of ideas. This is why many cultural objects hold profound significance. Knowledge is encoded into them through sacred processes. Traditional message sticks are one example. Ancient Greece developed a similar principle through the famous memory palace. Information is placed within imagined rooms of a familiar building. Stacks of information. By mentally walking through that space, people could accurately recall vast amounts of knowledge. The same principle extends beyond objects, into the landscape. Across indigenous cultures, knowledge is stored in country. Rocks, trees, rivers, mountains, even the night sky. Stellar constellations are not recognized as a metaphor, but as living presences whose actions shape law, seasonality, and human behavior. Country is not a passive backdrop on a flat plain. It is a tumbling, breathing, ever-shifting chorus of life. It is alive. It speaks through birdsong, wind, water, insects, and trees. Human life unfolds through continuous exchange with this living community. I've experienced this in deeply personal ways many times, and I'm sure you did as well. A friend from the Banjalang Nation once suggested that I leave a painful memory at a particular place in the landscape. That way I would not need to carry it with me all days. If I ever wished to revisit it, I would simply return to that place. It changed how I understood memory. Sometimes the landscape can carry what we no longer need to carry alone. Once we return to meaningful places, memories awaken naturally. Sometimes we don't even need to physically return. Simply imagining ourselves walking that landscape can bring them back. Did it ever happen to you that by returning to a particular place, all the detailed memories that you experienced there became alive again, like they've just happened a moment ago? Some detailed data, some conversations, movements, smells that you thought you forgot about completely. Learning is not only intellectual, it is embodied. Knowledge lives in our hands, our feet, even in the movements of our bodies, walking, touching, repeating meaningful actions. Movement itself becomes a way of remembering. Perhaps the most powerful memory technology humanity has ever developed is story. Facts alone fade quickly. Stories endure, especially emotional stories. Narrative carries information directly into long-term memory. This is why songlines have endured for millennia. They weave navigation, ecology, kinship, law, and history into songs that are sung while moving through country. Knowledge becomes inseparable from movement through the landscape. Place and story become one. Neuroscience shows that people living with dementia often retain memories connected to songs and familiar places long after many other memories have disappeared. Memory is deepest when it is rooted in relationship. The only truly sustainable way to preserve knowledge across generations is through living relationships. Relationships between people, between generations, between communities, and between people and the sentient landscape. Perhaps the greatest evidence for this is found in Aboriginal Australian cultures. For more than 60,000 years, they have maintained one of the world's oldest continuous knowledge traditions. Their songlines do not simply preserve information, they activate it. They create living maps that connect people, place, and understanding. When we, for example, play the simple telephone game, a message becomes distorted after passing through only a handful of people. Yet Aboriginal knowledge systems have carried extraordinarily precise historical, ecological, and cultural knowledge across thousands of generations. what many outsiders dismiss as myth always turns out to contain carefully preserved historical truth. It is just that some of it is so old that it is hard to comprehend within the context. Perhaps remembering is not about retrieving information from the mind. Perhaps it is about returning to relationship with place, with story, with one another, and with the living world. To remember is to enter relationship. To know is to move with care across a living terrain.